We as language learners cross cultures, we can feel stress or even culture shock. So what's the fix to this problem? Well, my solution differs from what we often hear, and my solution is based on this idea from Friedrich Nietzsche. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Let's try that again. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. So my suggestion for beating cultural stress goes like this. We can beat culture stress by knowing our purpose, by knowing our reason for being in the now, and for knowing our why. Why are we here at this very moment? So this is going to be very practical and actionable and not abstract. The question, however, is how can we find our why? How can you find your why to deal with cultural stress? I'm Joey Polshock, PhD, aka Dr. Shock. My PhD is in linguistics from the University of Edinburgh in Scotland, and I'd like to say that Scotland is great. I have over 25 years teaching experience teaching English to English learners and over 10 years experience teaching English teachers how to teach English. And this talk is separate from my work at Senshu University, where I am a professor in the School of International Communication and the Department of Intercultural Communication. If you like this video, please do like and subscribe. And if you don't like it, okay, give me some feedback so I can make it better. All right, so before we talk about how to find our why to deal with cultural stress, let's first look at 4 different kinds of cultural stressors or shockers. Number 1 is communication stress. So in my experience living in Japan, sometimes I don't know the right word to say, and it causes me stress. Or sometimes I speak myself into a dead end, a grammatical dead end, and I don't know how to get out. I don't know the grammar to say what I want to say, and I tried, but I got stuck. Or sometimes my pronunciation isn't good enough, and people can't understand me, so I feel stress, cultural stress, from my inability to communicate well. And then we just have like basic troubles, right? Like basic troubles. So I don't know how to ride the bus. I don't know where to put the money in the machine. I don't know what to say to the taxi driver. That's communication. But you can see there's basic troubles. Like I don't know which way is up and which way is down, right? There's basic troubles. I don't know how to use an ATM machine, right? All of these things could happen to you. They're basic troubles that happen in a new culture that you're not used to, so they can cause you stress. And a third kind of cultural stress or cultural shocker can be loneliness. You're far away from home, right? You miss your family, you miss your friends, or you're in a new culture and you don't have any friends, and so you feel lonely, and maybe you don't know how to talk to people. Again, communication comes in, but you feel loneliness. And then a fourth, and really the most serious and most profound one, is this idea of culture value shock. Kind of hard to say. Culture values shock. And what is it? This happens when the new culture, sort of in a hidden way, in an invisible way, the values of the new culture sort of question your existence. Like the values of the new culture, the way people do things, challenges and questions your beliefs, your values. And so you feel this like uneasy, am I okay? Am I a good person? What's wrong with me? Because the new culture is questioning your way of being. All right, here are some examples. A Japanese student in the U.S. might feel culture stress when asked to speak up in class, because in Japan, people may tend to value indirect communication and respect for the teacher's status. All right, and here's another example. An Italian man might feel cultural stress because he values outward expressions of affection, while his Asian partner may shy away from public affection, tending to value modesty and reserved behavior. So these are values that can cause sort of a deeper cultural stress and be part of what causes culture shock for us. Now, there are some common solutions. Of course, my favorite one is to learn the language, right? Learn the vocabulary, learn the grammar, learn the pronunciation, improve your language ability. The famous linguist Donald Larson, in his book Guidelines for Barefoot Language Learning, suggests that learning the language is the key for us to enter into smoothly the new culture, to smoothly enter into the new culture. So learning the language is important. And of course, just know the place. It's pretty simple, but which way is north? Which way is south, east, and west, right? Where is the train station? How do I get there? How do I use this strange money that I've never seen before? So knowing the place is something that can help lower the stress level when dealing with culture stress and culture shock. And then the last one is understand the values. Try to understand why people act the way they do. And if you do understand the reasons behind their behavior, you can empathize with them and feel for them and understand them better. Now, this brings us back to the question of why we are in a new culture, and it gives us this idea of the power of the why solution. Know your purpose, know your reason, and know your why. Now that sounds all like pie in the sky, know your why stuff, abstract, but I want to show a clear and concrete and actionable and practical and doable way to find our whys, right? To find our whys in cultural stress. And again, the basic solution, the general theory here is we beat culture stress by knowing our purpose, knowing our reason, and knowing our why. So how can we find a clear, concrete, actionable, practical, doable why? Well, Viktor Frankl, the famous psychologist who founded the school of logotherapy, he gives us a very powerful answer. Viktor Frankl experienced the deepest and most profound level of cross-cultural stress you could imagine. Okay, he was living in Austria at the time, and the Nazis came in and took him and his wife, put them in the prison camps. Talk about a difficult culture to deal with. And when he was in those prison camps, he lost his mother and his father, he lost his wife, and he lost all of his work, all of his life work about psychology, and so he lost everything. That's a lot of stress. But during that process, he found 3 clear whys to deal with stress. And I think these 3 clear whys really work with cross-cultural stress. So I'm going to share those 3 whys now, and I'll give a short bonus at the end that just helps us deal with stress directly. Let's start with the first one. So the first why is create a work or take action. So we can find our why by creating a work or taking some kind of action. So as a foreign student in Scotland, I sometimes felt lonely. Strangely enough, in Scotland they speak English, but oftentimes I couldn't understand what they were saying. Also, I was far away from family and friends. My father had just died, and so I was lonely. And so what did I do? I carried a camera with me, and by carrying a camera, I was like in a stance of looking for things that were beautiful. I've got my camera, I'm going to take pictures, and so this is causing me to look for beauty. And so I'm walking down the Royal Mile, and I see this wonderful shot of this group of musicians playing on the street and a child donating money to them. I spotted this flower with a bee on it, was able to take a picture, and then, of course, like to visit the Edinburgh Castle and right below it there. So it's like I'm looking for beauty. I'm finding a very simple and concrete purpose to be in the now, to focus not on my loneliness, but to focus on the beauty around me. So the solution is create a work, take action, make a poem, read a poem, write a story, read a story, sing a song, write a song, draw a picture, take a picture, do your hobby, take a walk, go on a hike, study, create a work, and take an action. That is one very simple, actionable, doable way that you can do right now to find a why. The second one is to get and to live experiences. So we can find our why by experiencing nature, culture, art, music, cinema, food, festivals, sports, travel, learning, all kinds of things. So we can get and live experiences with others, with other people, which is good. So one of the things that I did in Scotland was I played soccer. They call it football. I played soccer with my classmates, and that was great. I had a good time, and it was finding a reason. What's the reason? What's the why? Just enjoy soccer, right? And you can do also lots of things alone as well, like experiencing nature or music or whatever. So the second way to get a why is to get and live experiences. Now the third one is a little bit difficult. It's challenging. It's to choose your thoughts, right? So we can find our why by choosing how we think about stress and trouble. So Viktor Frankl in the Nazi concentration camp had everything taken away from him except the freedom to choose how to respond, except for the freedom to choose how to think about his situation. Let's think of a more, maybe a more relatable example. So I know someone by the name of Yasu who had a terrible accident. He was in a head-on collision, almost died. He was in the back seat of the car, wasn't wearing his seatbelt. The cars collided head-on. He flew all the way from the back seat to the front seat and hit his head on the windshield. He lived through it. He forgot a lot of things. How could he think about this terrible situation? Right? He could say, "Oh man, I'm so unlucky. My life is so bad. I'm such an idiot. I'm so stupid. I should have worn my seatbelt. I'm an idiot." Or he could also change the way he thinks about his difficult situation and just say, "Wow, I'm really lucky to be alive. Life is good. I learned some lessons about this. Next time I'll wear a seatbelt, but I'm lucky to be alive and life is good." Psychologists call this benefit finding. You find the good in bad situations in order to feel better and to grow stronger. So do you got cultural stress, right? Then find your why, right? Create a work or take an action. Make a poem, write a poem. Read a story, write a story. Sing a song, write a song. Take a picture, draw a picture. Do your hobby, walk, hike, study. Create a work or take an action. Be in the now with that, finding your why, right? Or you can get and live experiences. Experience nature, culture, art, music, food, festival, sports, travel, and learning. And thirdly, you can choose your thoughts. Choose how to think about stressors. Choose how to think about shockers. These things may be hard, but maybe they're helping you get stronger, right? So these are your 3 ways, simple ways to find whys when you're having a cultural stress, If you like this video, please do like and subscribe. My name is Joseph Polshock, aka Dr. Shock. I am a language coach and a communications coach at languagesuperpowers.com and also a content creator at readoasis.com. Thank you for listening. And now let's look at that bonus stress reducer. The bonus stress reducer, I like to call it the double breath. It is actually technically called the physiological sigh. So when you are stressed, take a long breath through your nose and a quick, shorter breath through your nose on top of the second. So it's a second breath on top of the first, and then exhale all your air through your mouth. And this is a powerful way to reduce stress. If you want to know more about it, I put a link in the description so you can see Dr. Andrew Huberman, who has done experiments about this and talks about how it reduces stress. Here is Huberman Sensei, Dr. Huberman, demonstrating the double breath or the physiological sigh.
You do it like this.
So again, check the link for Dr. Huberman's full video, and I hope you all have a great time crossing cultures and finding your why. Thank you for watching.